I'm Jenny Taft here with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp. How are we doing?
I see we both got on our good luck grades today. Somebody is hoping for something good to happen tonight, huh?
You know, speaking of that, isn't it amazing? There's a huge game at Staples Center tonight, right here in Hollywood, featuring a Los Angeles team not named the Lakers. I was wondering last night, whatever happened to that guy who used to star for the Lakers? Oh yeah, is he the guy doing the Space Jam ripoff?
He and the best player on the planet, they're having a nice, cozy vacation.
Oh,
yeah.
You just admitted Kevin Durant is the best player on the planet. Thank you.
Cozy vacation. Apparently,
And the second best player on the planet just might be Paul George. But let's talk about it.
There you go.
All right, well, the Clippers, yes, they're hanging in and have a chance to force a Game 7 tonight with a win in L.A. in hopes of yet another comeback this postseason. They will have to face a determined Suns team who Monty Williams said must play with desperation after giving up Game 5 at home Monday night. So, Shannon, who wins Game 6 tonight?
Skip, I'm going to take the Suns in a very close ball game. And a lot of people believe that the pressure is on the Suns, but I still believe the pressure is on the Clippers because the Suns still have an opportunity to do something. If they don't lose, if they lose this game tonight, they still have a Game 7. If the Clippers lose tonight, there is no Game 7. It's over. So you know there's a heightened sense that we need to get this done. We need to somehow force this thing back to to Phoenix. And now the pressure is on the Suns because you're in your building in front of your fans and you had us down 3-1. So now all of a sudden, if we can keep this game close, don't let you go run and hide, get up by 20, 30 points. We get this game to the fourth quarter, we'll see if you can out-execute us because we trust our coach is going to put us, and Ty Lue's done a great job. Every button that he seemed to have pushed has been the right button. He's one of these guys, Skip, you see these movies and they got to push all these buttons, like which one, this one? Whatever button Ty Lue pushes seems to work. I love what I see him from Paul George. Paul George is taking the approach that I'm back in Indy. Paul George believes that I'm the best player on this court. Now that Kawhi Leonard is not in this series, I'm the best player. I need to show that every single game. But Skip, although he's for the most part shown that he's the best player in this series, he's always gotten contribution from at least one other person. Normally it's been Reggie Jackson. But the other night it was Marcus Morris. Boogie Cousins came along for a ride. And if you look at it, Skip, Paul George and Reggie Jackson, they've outplayed Book and CP3. That's really the difference. If you look at it, Skip, the two games that they've won, PG and Reggie Jackson is 41 of 77, 53%, 13 of 32, 41%, 114 combined points. Well, CP3, they about outscored CP3 and Book by 31 points and 27 of 81. That's not good enough. And Bridges and Bridges and Crowder only giving you 14 points in this series. DeAndre Ayton has been fabulous. So for me, Skip, I'm gonna say the Suns win a close game. I think Monty Williams, I don't think it's Monty Williams. I think it's the Clippers have the undivided attention. You can't spot a team 20-5. Can't spot a team by what they got down in the first quarter because they continuously had to dig. Those guys, the role players from the Clippers, they made Paul George's job a lot easier because they spotted him to that big lead. Paul George could relax. He didn't need to do anything crazy, get up 12, 14 shots in the first quarter, and he just relaxed, let the game come to him, and boy, did it come to him in a big way. But I'm going to take the Suns in a very, very close ball game. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a game like the first two ball games, games 1, 2, and 4, come down to basically the very last possession.
Okay, I hear everything you just said, and I want to offer my condolences to you early, just to set you up so that you can start to prepare yourself for what's about to hit you right between the eyes tomorrow, as I sit here right here in this chair, because the Clippers are going to win tonight, and they are going to win Game 7. And you are blessed. You are so fortunate we don't have a show on Saturday. Maybe we should just come in and do one.
No.
I might propose that to the people upstairs, that we have a Saturday show, because I want to talk about the Clippers in the finals, and that's where we are getting to. Because for me, the hardest part for the Clippers is already over. The hard part was to go in Game 5 when it looked like you were down and completely out, down 3-1, and win at Phoenix. That's the hard part. And we all know the Clippers like to do it the hardest way. So they were down 0-2 to Dallas, 0-2 to Utah. Nobody had ever come back from 0-2 down in consecutive series. Now they're down 3-1. And obviously, once you get that first hurdle out of the way, now back to Ty Lue saying, oh, this is very doable.
Yeah.
Well, now, trust me, the Clippers believe it's very doable. What do the Clippers know about down 3-1? Well, they were up 3-1 in the bubble, and not everybody was there, but the bulk of this team knows what it feels like to be up 3-1 and how easily and quickly 3-1 slipped away. And even though you got up 19 points and 14 points and 12 points, you couldn't cling to it. It's hard. Once the momentum shifts, it shifts wildly to the chasing team. And right now, the Clippers are chasing the Suns. But I still say that the pressure tonight will only escalate on the Suns as the visiting team, because that they know what it feels like. At least their leader knows what it feels like. He's lost a bunch of leads in his playoff career, but Chris Paul III, he knows all too well what happened in 2015 when he was a Clipper.
Right.
And they were up 3-1 on Houston, and it slowly but surely slipped away.
Right.
So he knows it's very doable because he's experienced it the wrong way.
But, Skip, you said the pressure is on the Suns as the visiting team. Wouldn't the pressure be on the home team because you're playing in front of your crowd and you're supposed to win this game because you are the favorite tonight?
The momentum is with the home team. The home team has been up against it the whole playoff run. I don't think the home team feels any pressure now because they felt nothing. They've lived with pressure for so long that they've constantly dug themselves holes that looked undiggable, where you can't dig out of them. And yet, if you know the heartbeat of this team, to your point, Paul George, they know Paul George is the best player on the floor.
Yeah.
Again, there might have been a time when Chris Paul was the best player on the floor in this game, but even yesterday, you were campaigning for to get a little more run,
but Skip,
right?
Think about it. They won 2 games without Chris Paul.
Okay.
They lost 2 or 3 with Chris Paul. And you look at Cam's numbers, Skip, he was 40 points, 18 assists with 1 turnover.
I do not disagree with you, but when you're trying to make the case that the guy that a lot of people were making a case for MVP, at least the MVP of this team, if not the MVP of the league, and you're telling me that his backup should get extended minutes.
Yes,
like
even if you got to play them together, Skip, you need somebody to push the pace. Okay. And that's what he can do, what Chris Paul doesn't do particularly well.
And that leads me back to Devin Booker. He's obviously an explosive scorer, but listen, the Clippers got an equally explosive scorer in Reggie Jackson.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And again, he hasn't gotten the shine or the buzz or the hype that Devin has, deservedly so. But Reggie Jackson has become the closer for this team.
Yes.
And all of a sudden, I don't know if people realize what's happening right before your very eyes. They're a little more effective without Kawhi. I'm not saying they're better without Kawhi, because Game 4 down the stretch when they hit the ice road, that's what I call it, because there's a movie on Netflix right now called Ice Road. Well, the Clippers know what the ice road feels like because they got on it down the stretch of Game 4.
Here's the thing. When Kawhi's there, Kawhi gets most shots. Then Paul George, then Reggie Jackson. So now I got to find my way. How do I do what I do without stepping on Kawhi's toes?
Okay.
Without stepping on Paul George's toes?
Now I sense harmony and chemistry. Because they all deferred to Kawhi, but it's hard for Kawhi to lead because he's really not one of the guys.
Well, he ain't talking. He just plays.
When you don't talk, it's hard to be the leader.
It is.
And you're kind of unto yourself. And not in a terrible way. You just do what you do on your own. Your whole plan, everything you do is unto yourself. You kind of you follow a different schedule than the team follows. And after a while, you look at that guy and say, well, he can't be our leader. And can he be our closer? Well, sometimes he closes, and a lot of times he doesn't close.
And the approach is different. You look at the way Ty Lue is talking in the huddle when they're down, as opposed to when Doc was when they were with Doc. That's a huge difference.
One coach is engaged, and the other last year in the bubble just disengaged, like folded his arms and said, "You guys do it."
Right. That's the old school way of coaching.
Okay, that's the old school way. Okay, yeah, like you guys don't get it yet. I'm going to let you see if you can figure it out.
You got yourself into this. Get yourself
out of it. So the point is that this Clippers team is different without Kawhi because they now have their roles. Paul George is the star of the show.
He's Indiana Paul. He's Indiana Paul.
He is that guy. And in overall ability, to me, he is LeBron-esque. I'm not saying he's better than LeBron because we know he's got some psychological flaws. But the point is, he's a long 6'8". He can defend. He can steal it. He can disrupt on defense just with his sheer length and his desire to play defense. And he has, as a shooter, he's a better shooter than LeBron because he's got more range than LeBron, and he's got more range than Kawhi ever had because Kawhi's an okay three-point shooter. This guy can be a big-time three-point shooter.
You know why he's like this, Skip? Because when he was in Indiana, he didn't have to defer. He was the guy.
Okay.
He get to take as many shots. He had Roy Hibbert. He had Lance Stevenson. So now he's like, basically, Ty Lue said, hey, go back to being what you was in Indiana when you was taking the big three Celtics to Game 7.
He did.
I mean, the big three Heat to Game 7.
He did definitely.
Be that guy.
Okay.
If you be that guy, the guys will follow you. We'll be just fine.
Okay, but what happened last game in the third quarter at Phoenix, out of nowhere,